Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Crypto City. Thank you for joining us on your Monday night. We have a special guest we're going to bring out tonight from Horizon Worlds in just a few minutes. But first, I would like to go over a few things that are happening in the news. So an AI update, OpenAI just dropped some previews of the voice and video features in ChatGPT. We know that some of these have been rolling out over the last, couple months, but ChatGPT is putting real-time conversation and virtual face-to-face interactions on the near horizon, like a full-on AI assistant that can see, hear, and respond, almost like a real, a real assistant in an office. And this takes the concept of digital collaboration to a whole new level. I mean, I tell you guys all the time, ChatGPT is like my best friend. I use it all day long for so many different things. I've even begun using it for things in my house that I don't know how to do or things that I need help with. I'll just sit there and I'll be like, hey, I need some help with this. Can you tell me where I should start? And I've been just becoming great friends with my ChatGPT. I would love for it to have a face and a name and actually be a roommate for me, actually. So that would be really cool. In Web3, Polygon is rolling out a new tool called AgLayer that makes it easier for different blockchain networks to work together. Right now, using Web3 apps can kind of feel confusing sometimes, using different wallets, chains, and tokens. And this update is about to make that experience much smoother and more connected, so users won't have to think about which chain that they're on. And it's a big step toward making Web3 feel more like the regular internet, but with ownership and control in your own hands. On the crypto pulse, we got Bitcoin that's been hovering, right around 85 up and down. And, it's maintaining stability amidst the recent tariff related news. So, a significant development in the U.S.'s government establishment of strategic Bitcoin reserve formalized through the executive order in March of 2025. This comprises, Bitcoin and other major cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, and XRP, utilizing assets previously seized by the Treasury. So it's a big shift. And this move signifies a notable shift in the government approach and acknowledging cryptocurrencies as strategic assets. No matter where you are in your political, this has nothing to do with that. This has to do with, the current climate changing drastically. And this initiative has garnered mixed reactions, but it is definitely, showing the integration of crypto into national financial strategies like other countries. And additionally, the Department of Justice has scaled back in their enforcement actions against cryptocurrency firms, which was really prevalent over the last few years, indicating, a broader trend toward regulatory leniency in the crypto sector. I don't think that they're going to, drop everything and just say it's a free-for-all. I hope they don't do that, but I do feel like they're going to be more adoptive to it, which is great because it's going to make a lot of, not just financial things easier. It's actually going to really help with, some of these issues we're having with the tariffs and things like that. I feel that there will be ways around stuff if we can work directly instead of having to go through centralized institutions continuously. So, that's pretty much the three big things I had to go over with you this week. But I do want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. We've got DJ Marcus J. We've got Kip VR. We've got, now there's Kip coming in right now. We've got Fuchsia with the Virtual Fitness Group. We've got Cyber Shay, and we've got Second Life Rich with Hume AI and Lux VR. We've got G Deuce from Barra Financial. We've got Tinker Love from Zen Royals and Sisters for Sisters and Venue GPS. We're just super grateful for everyone who has been supporting our work here. Boss Leo from the Diamond Resilience, can't forget her either. She's been a huge support of us. And I just want to thank everyone for believing in the work that we've done here. For those of you who may not know, next week is our 100th episode. And I'm super excited about that. It's a great milestone, but I never would have been able to get there without my team. So I want to give a huge shout out to Blue Moon, to Loudfire, to DJ Marcus J, and to Kip VR. With all of you behind me and helping me get to this point, this show has really, been something that was a special project for me when I started out, and now I feel like it's part of the community. We've had so many people on from multiple platforms, and it's been so amazing to learn as much as we've learned, not only about the platforms, the technology, all the different programs, the world building skills, all the things that we brought into here, but it's been amazing to see the people in the community grow. And that's what it's all about. You know, we are growing the metaverse into its own world, running seamlessly alongside our real life initiatives. So thank you to all of you who are here. Thank you to the people who have been on the show before and who will be on the show in the future. If you're new to the show this week, check out our Hall of Fame out there showing the people that have been on the previous seasons. This is season 6. It will end in mid-May, and we will start back up again in August, but in June and July, somewhere in that time frame, we're going to be having a tech event here out in the beautiful courtyard that Kip built. So anyone who's interested in being part of that, I invite you to please reach out to me or to anyone on our team, and we will talk about getting you involved in it. So without me going on any further, we're going to bring out tonight's guest. So please help me welcome somebody who's a powerhouse over in Horizon Worlds and is doing stuff over here in VR chat as well. Please welcome BlueBunny to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you.
How you doing? Please grab a seat.
I'm good.
Appreciate you coming over here to meet with us tonight. You know, it's funny, I was saying to you earlier tonight, I actually didn't even realize all the things that you do in the metaverse, because I just knew you from hanging out in the same circles sometimes and being in the same places. And I started looking into all the things that you were doing, and I was like, wow, you've done already quite a bit. And I think you kind of floated under the radar a little bit. So I wanted to bring you on and talk about, you know, the things you've done and how you've grown within here. So why don't you give us a little bit of backstory on you?
I bought my Oculus in 2021. Just, you know, wanting to see what the VR world was about. I actually bought it on accident, which is the funny part. I had PlayStation. I was a PlayStation person. And so at the time they had a free game for Walking Dead, I think it was, with the PlayStation VR. So I was trying to buy the PlayStation VR, and I ended up buying the Oculus, and I kept it. But my first world over there I went to was called Club Vivid by Danica City. And I met him, and he was saying that it was his world. And I was like, what do you mean this is your world? And he was like, I built everything in here. Everything that you see, I built with shapes and stuff like that. And I was just amazed because I didn't know that people could even do that on Horizon. And so that kind of inspired me to become a creator. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of female creators over there. And so I was like, I wanted to be one of the first ones to start making worlds. And I began my journey that way.
Okay. That's actually hilarious that you bought it by accident, but you know what? It worked out, and it was probably a better choice for you in the long run. So that's awesome. I actually was an Xbox person and was looking for a replacement for my Xbox, and I saw this and said, that's the direction I'm going instead. So it's funny that we came from those backgrounds and chose this path instead.
Exactly.
So let's talk about, you know, so you found out you could create, and then you decided, I want to do this. So tell us a little bit about your initiation into creating and, you know, kind of how that came about and what you started out with.
My first world was horrible. So my brother Danica, he was like, you know, he's like, the way he started, he just went in there. He's like, do the tutorial. That had a little tutorial video where you have to like build a bridge to get to the, it's like a trophy at the end of the area. And so I'm doing it, and I didn't learn anything. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the tutorials were not working. And he was like, just go in there, just make a new world. Think about what you want to make. I wanted a little chill spot. And so I wanted to be like a little chill spot, but I wanted to have it like interactive as well. And at the time I was in culinary school, and we were working on making like pizza dough and stuff. So one of my friends was like, why don't you make a pizza parlor? And I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm gonna call it Bunny's Pizza Hole. And everybody was just laughing, and like, that's gonna be stupid. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. So that was my first world. It was called Bunny's Pizza Hole. You go in there, and it's like a little club vibe. It's nice and chill. And then it has a whole like kitchen where you can make pizzas and stuff. And it was cool. And I had these poles. I was trying to put a light on the table so you could see our avatars. I didn't know how to make the light invisible. It looked like a stripper pole.
Oh,
And
God.
they were stripper poles. I was like, there's supposed to be lights. So people were on the tables dancing, eating pizza. And it was like a strip club pizza parlor. And I'm like, that's not what it was supposed to be. But it was successful. So yeah, that was my first world. And then from there, I just started to just, go into like depth of like things I wanted to bring into the metaverse that weren't there already. Because there was a couple of worlds, but not a lot at the time. And I just wanted to do something different. I didn't want to be like everybody else. So I just like figured out what I wanted to do.
So then you're building along the way. You created a world called Music and Things. Talk a little bit about that, because this is something I watched your little video that you had about, what this world was supposed to be and represent for people. So tell the audience, because if they haven't checked it out, they definitely should go over and see it.
So Music and Things, I have two. The first one I built was about a year ago when I first got my gaming PC. A lot of people on Horizon Worlds, because everybody knows we do not have access to video players over there still. So getting music in your worlds, if you have a club or chill spots or anything, is really hard. So what a lot of people do is they use their bots, call them bots, bringing their computer on the app and just play music out of their computers. But of course, if you don't have a gaming computer, you're still out of luck. So once I got mine, I figured out how to script the music and record it on my own and script it and make playlists. And I just started to sell them for people, reasonably priced. Like, people were telling me they pay hundreds of dollars for music playlists. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, for me, I'm not a gatekeeper. I've never been a gatekeeper. And I'm like, I try to help people in the community. I'm like, I'm going to do cheap playlists, like $2 a song, stuff like that. So that's what made me do Music and Things Part 1, which is a primitive shapes. If you know about Horizon Worlds, we have primitive shapes, and now we have tri-mesh. Primitive shapes is like anybody can build it without a computer, without having to bring stuff in. And then my new world, the one that I just posted about, is a tri-mesh music and chill world. So you can go and purchase music with the tri-mesh assets.
Now, for those who aren't familiar, tri-mesh is a little bit more like Unity and like Blender that we use over here. Yeah. So it actually looks a lot more realistic than, primitive shapes. Though I will say I've definitely seen some people build beautiful
amazing worlds.
Boss Leo is one of the ones who builds worlds that you walk into and you forget for a second that you're in Horizon. Like, they're really beautiful, but it is limited. And to be honest with you, you touched on something so meta. I know you're listening, but we still want to be able to stream video over there and stream music in there, because that's part of the reason why we haven't done a season of Crypto City over there, is because we need to be able to have, there are slide issues now, but it's, now tri-mesh is definitely a step toward that direction. So hopefully we'll be able to have streaming very soon. Hopefully by the next Meta Connect, that would be good. Right? Goals. Listen, Zuckerberg. Goals.
Hopefully he comes on that stage. It's like, hey, we got video players now. And everybody starts screaming and throwing confetti.
So let's talk about scripting, though. So you said, I come in and I learned how to script the music and put things together. So there's a lot of things over in Horizon that are done on scripting. Now, scripting is something that's pretty much used on all platforms, but in Horizon, it's kind of essential to have any sort of interaction over there. You need to learn scripting. So I think I would love for you to explain to people how you learned it. Like, how did you, was it YouTube tutorials, or did you go back and kind of play around with it? How did you figure out what to do? And then what kinds of things can people do with scripting over there?
So for me, scripting was very difficult. I pretty much was mainly self-taught. Some of the basic scripts, like making somebody's voice global or opening a door or changing a simple color. I had some people help me, teach me like certain small things. But as I grew, like I said, Horizon's a big gatekeeping place. So you had to just pretty much figure it out on your own. I would just go in there and play with things. Like, okay, I did this with this script. Let me change it. Let me put another part in here and see if it does the same thing. It was pretty much self-taught. At the time when I first got in, YouTube really didn't have a whole lot of like help with learning the script. It was more of just like who Okay. So you gotta like go network, you gotta vibe with people, you gotta, ask for help, or just get somebody that's gonna really be on your side. As I started learning, then I started just teaching other people. That's pretty much how I went. Now, of course, now we have the Discord and you can go in there and there's all the scripting channels for help and stuff. But before, when I first got in here, before we had legs, no, it was
before we had legs.
like a jungle.
For anyone in the audience who's watching this on YouTube,
Yeah,
and for
we didn't
anyone
have
here who
legs
hasn't been over, they had no legs up until just recently. So, yes, we were torsos in Horizon World. We've come so far. But so scripting, we've actually had a couple of episodes on here. DJ Marcus came and taught us some scripting. Kip has taught scripting to people in the community. And, there's certain things that you can do with scripting that really, you mentioned, okay, I made this script and it worked fine. Maybe if I tweak it a little bit, I can get to do this. So there's variables that you can shift out to take a script and make it do many different things by the same principles and just changing the variables you put in. So it's similar over in Horizon as well.
Yes, it's similar. And of course now with the Tri-Mesh Worlds, they are doing TypeScript. So if you do know how to do TypeScript, they recommend you to do that, especially if you're making games, especially for the PC games, not PC, I mean mobile games. I don't even think you can even successfully have a mobile game without TypeScript now on Horizon. So I'm actually going to coding school next month because I'm like, I need to learn TypeScript. So
okay. See, and I love that because you see the need. And so you're like, all right, I'm just going to follow this through. Now, the scripting that you're doing, and, you've also built quite a few of, like, you built games and worlds and things like that, regardless of whether they were at the beginning or now, you've done quite a bit. How have you, not just the watching videos and talking to people, but how else have you progressed in learning your skills? Do you feel that now that there are some videos out there on YouTube for helping, or do you kind of go online and, Google things and ChatGPT it to figure things out?
YouTube probably does have a lot more now. And I did learn recently that some people from Horizon have been teaching ChatGPT the type of scripting that they do on Horizon, because Horizon's not like normal scripting. It's not like HTML or anything like that. It's just it's their own program. I don't even know what to call the type of scripting that we do on Horizon. But some people have started to like put in the things that we do, like pictures or whatever, in ChatGPT. So I think now it actually is possible to go in there and be like, I'm using Horizon Worlds, this is what I need to do, and it'll tell you some things. I haven't tried it on my own yet, but I probably will, just to see if it's like if it knows what I'm talking about, like if the program knows anything about Horizon Worlds.
You got to play with ChatGPT. It's the best. You'll be hooked once you're in there. But yeah, it's funny because like I for a long time was just like, oh yeah, Horizon, it's over there. I'm good. I don't really want. And then I kind of, was spending a little bit more time there. Gala Giant is, my big resource over there. Like he has brought me in and is like, you need to be over here. You need to figure out some of this stuff. Let me teach you some few basic things. You can come in here and play. And he taught me to, create blank worlds and just go in there and play around and just, figure it out, drop stuff in and play. And I'm like, all right, you know what? And I'm actually really grateful to him for, I can't claim that I've done anything of any great size over there, anything wonderful, but I did go in and create a generic world, and I created a little loft apartment, and I sat there and I stared at it and I was like, okay, that was fun. Yep. I stopped. But then, I have a world over there for my nonprofit, and, he created it and it's a beautiful world, and he lets me play around in there a little bit with a few things and taught me like how to bring in images as textures to apply them to the script that exists in there. And it's a process to do it. You're right. It's not easy. But at the same time, I was like, okay, you know what? Once you figure it out, it's the same process each time. So you just need to learn it. I wrote it down, and I cheat. I look at my notes constantly, but I was able to bring some stuff in there, and it's nice when you do find the people who aren't gatekeepers, who are willing to help you, because it's stuff you can't really figure out on your own. It's not easy to sit in there and go like, okay, I'm going to do this without destroying something. So
exactly. Because once you go into a world and you touch a script and you don't know what you're doing, the whole world is broken. You just broke everything in there. And they used to have scripting classes. One of my friends, his name is like Mutz. He was teaching one of the scripting classes, and I used to go on it. It was like every Thursday. I don't even know if they still do it, but a couple of years ago I used to go every Thursday, and I did kind of learn a lot from just going in there. Of course, with a big class, because it would be like 20, 30 people in there and like only 2 teachers, it's still hard to learn because it's not like a one-on-one hands-on thing. I'm a very hands-on learner, but I'm like, I need somebody in build mode with me, giant mode, teaching me what to put in and what not to put in and all that.
Yes.
Just looking at somebody pointing at the screen is that's not how I learn. So
yeah, it's much better to see it as you go, for sure. So, you mentioned the working with other people and, not being a gatekeeper and everything. Let's talk about, your views on the importance of collaboration in this fast growing VR ecosystem. I mean, you've learned from other people. Are you sharing that knowledge with people going forward? Are you kind of paying it forward?
So for me, I think that's one of the big reasons I have come to VR chat more. I know a lot of people from Horizon like, oh, where have you been? Where have you been? It's like the community over on Horizon is, it's not what it used to be. Like when I first got on before monetization and everything, it was like my second life. Like I was in there every day until the sun came up. I felt guilty. Like, why am I in this headset so much? But it was fun. And when money came into everything, it's like everybody became enemies and clicked up and like a gang almost. Like, oh, if you're not with us, then we're not going to talk to you. But over here, the collaborations, how everybody, if you have a club, they're all coming together. They're going to each other's things. They're supporting each other. That's what kind of made me like really just switch over, because I'm like, I like it. I like how everybody's coming together and we're not enemies over here. We're all a big family. And that's what Horizon's kind of missing. It's very, very important to have people like, just collabing with each other. Because like we're all trying to get to the same goal. We're all trying to make our footprints in here, our marks. We're trying to have our names out there and be remembered for something. We're not just in here just for no reason. I'm like, I didn't spend all this money on these equipment for no reason. It's not just a video game for me. I actually hate when people say it's just a game. It's just a game. It's just a game. No, it's not.
It's definitely not just a game.
You're not an AI. No, it's not a game. And most of us make money in here now, so it's definitely not a game anymore. So it's very important. Like collaborating is very important to me, and that's why I'm like, I think it's time for me to go back to how I used to be. Really start pushing myself out there again, pushing my brand, and doing what I love.
I like to hear that, because we do pride ourselves on our community over here in VR chat. And, I'm sure that, I'm not knocking on other platforms, but VR chat seems to have a lot of people coming from different directions, working on different types of projects. And, it doesn't matter if you've got a club, if you've got, a podcast, if you've got a restaurant. It doesn't matter if you've got a legit business over here and you're offering services in the real world and here. People who are building in here have questions and they turn to each other. And like you mentioned Discord earlier, Discord's a huge resource for people who are in here. And, it's funny because I learned about Discord from coming into VR. And at first I was like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. There's 8 million things that you do in Discord. And then it was like, the more I met people, the more it was like, oh, jump in this Discord, this Discord, this Discord. Kip has had so many classes in Discord for us that, we could sit there and there could be 5 people, there could be 50 people all in the class sitting there and watching while he's streaming. And it is such a great way to collaborate with people and teach people stuff. And, you can look at it and say, oh, well, I'm going to hold all this in because I want to make money. Or you say, let's work together and grow this whole place so we can all make money together, which will in turn bring more people in, which will generate more money down the road. So, the goal isn't to sit here and, and to alienate yourself from everyone else. It's to bring everyone together and make a better community for all.
Exactly.
And speaking of Kip, you've been helping out at Sky Song too. So Sky Song is Kip's project. I see you there each week. You kind of tell us a little bit about that project.
Okay, so Sky Song, I started out as security, and then I was helping with bartending for a while. My title now is the CP specialist. A lot of people come in there and ask, like, what is that? And I kind of joke around, but what it really means is collaborations and partnerships. So he kind of put me ahead of that. So anytime we have a collaboration or a partnership going on, I have to make sure everything's going okay, make sure it's smooth. I may go to like somebody else's club and just, check them out, see if they're good people for us to collaborate with, and just come back and to report it to him. if we have a meeting with our partners, I attend the meetings and stuff like that. So that's what I do now. I'm always, making sure everybody in the club is having a good time, making sure everybody's, just vibing, helping out at the bar, helping in security. Anywhere I'm needed, that's where I go.
Nice. It's great to see that, like you're literally collaborating with other companies and other businesses in here, other clubs to bring them together. So that is exactly what we want. We want community. We want growth. And it's great to see that you're actually working with people in our community that we, respect their work as well. So that's wonderful. So let's talk a little bit, though, about the work that you have done in your building. You've made a few games as well.
Yes.
One called Boulder Run.
Yes. So, what was this in December? Horizon they started doing these competitions, but this was the first one I think they did where they're like throwing a bunch of money at us. They're like, oh, if you do this, you can make this amount of money. Of course, everybody goes crazy. And we're like, realistically, only 2 or 3 people are going to get that money, but we're all still going crazy with building. So, my idea was to bring, if you guys ever played the phone game Temple Run, I did my own take on Temple Run for a mobile game. So I made Boulder Run. It is mobile compatible, and I had entered it into the competition in December to try to win one of the prizes. And you go in there, got the bridges, you got to jump over the obstacles, collect the coins. There's leaderboards in there about like how much times you won, how many times you got any coins. And people love it. Like even when I go on just to check on things, like people are in there playing by themselves. That's actually been like my biggest accomplishment on Horizon Worlds, because that's like my first world that people just utilize on their own. And that's something that, of course, every Horizon creator wants, because, you generate the money that way. So
nice. Okay.
It's a big accomplishment.
Do you have any other games in the works right now, or are you kind of sticking with the building of worlds and stuff?
I had a game I did a couple years ago. It's called Uninvited. It's a scary game. You go into a haunted house, and everybody spawns into different rooms, and you have like a weapon and a flashlight. The goal of that game is to pretty much kill everybody else in the house. And whoever gets the most kills at the end of like, I think 3 minutes is how long the game is. Whoever gets the most kills, wins that game. I had entered that one into a Halloween competition at that time. I think I came in like 2nd or 3rd place. And then they have another competition this month going on for mobile games again. So I am making another game. It's kind of another like old mobile game that we used to play. I'm kind of doing a spin on it for this one as well.
Very cool. I like that you're inspired from things that already existed. That's pretty cool, because it's nice to modernize it and bring it into, today's look and feel. That's awesome. So in addition to all this building that you're doing and all of the things that you've created, you're also hosting certain things. So let's talk a little bit about the stuff that you've hosted.
Sorry, my son. Okay. So the first world show I actually hosted was called Couple Talk. At the time I was engaged. Me and my fiance were kind of like a power couple in Horizon Worlds. And we were the first ones to actually like meet in the metaverse and then end up being together in real life and moved in together and everything. So everybody was kind of like amazed by our story. And everybody would always ask us, they would stop us in worlds like, oh, how'd you guys meet? Or how'd you guys do this? And they would just keep asking us. And eventually we just got tired of it. So I was like, we need to just make a show. And so me and him made a show called Couple Talk. And in there, we would, be on one side of the couch and we would ask other meta couples to come and tell us their story. And we would interview them instead of people always interviewing us. So that's how that one started. We had it going for about a year, and we had a lot of people, meta couples come and want to do it or get into a relationship just to be on our show, which was funny.
Nice.
And then one day somebody was like, well, what about the people that are single? What if we want to come up there and talk to you guys? So then we came up with What's on Your Mind. And What's on Your Mind was another talk show. We would just talk about random stuff at that time. We would have a host, not a host, but a person come in every week. Somebody probably, popular in the meta community, like, hey, we got Danica this week, and he'd come talk to us about random stuff. We would talk about like different stuff going on in Horizon Worlds, things in the metaverse, other apps that people play, and we would just talk. Then we came out with Black Folks Talk, which is a show that still goes on Horizon Worlds, hosted by my boss, Dangerously Wild. I don't really go on there anymore with them, but they'd still host it on Sundays and Wednesdays. Black Folks Talk was created for melanated people to come together, talk about issues that we face in the real world and in VR as well. we've kind of created that one to just be a safe haven for our melanated community. Anybody in here knows, like, when you're in VR, we get targeted a lot as melanated people. We get messed with, picked on, racism. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. And so we just wanted to come and have a space for us to come and just talk. And it's chaotic sometimes in there. Sometimes the trolls, they make their way in. I don't know how they get to the table. They get to the table. They try to do their thing, but we still keep going. And it's been very inspiring. We've had people come in there and give people tips about, like, how to build how to build your house, or how to help your kids with certain things, how to grow your business. And it's like, it's really I can't think of the word I'm trying to use. Inspiring. It's inspiring.
Nice. Okay. So, I mean, you've clearly done a lot of different things over the years. I mean, you came in 2021, it's 2025. You've done a little bit of everything. You've grown your skill set. You've definitely, like, been out of the box with the creativity on different things. So let's talk about how you keep your momentum and creativity flowing without burning out. How do you avoid burning out? Because I know, like myself, I do a lot of different things in here that none of them are actually, like, related to each other. And I thrive on it. I love it. But there are days when I'm just like, you know what? I need a clone so bad. That needs to be next on my list. So how do you work with it?
I literally was just saying it a couple of days ago. I'm like, I need a clone.
See?
The only way really not to burn out is to take breaks. I know a lot of people feel like, I can't take a break from this. I can't do it, but you can. It's just do something else. Doesn't mean you can't come on your headset every day. I know we're all addicted to this thing, but take a break. There's times where I have stopped building for months at a time. I think right now I am on a break. Like, the last world I built over there was over a month ago, which was the music world. I have to take my breaks because I'm like, if I just keep going and going and going, and I start losing my love for it. And that's kind of why I did kind of, like you said, go under the radar for a while, because I kept doing so much. I think I have over 200 worlds on Horizon at the time. Right now, because I just kept going and going and going and going and going. And when I hit that brick wall, I was just like, I don't want it no more. Like, I fell out of love with building for a long time. And so I'm like, now I take a break. And now I'm actually working on Blender and Unity.
Okay.
I'm kind of burnt out with everything I was doing on Horizon, and I want to elevate to the next level.
Does that mean we're going to see you over here?
Yes. I'm always like a challenge. So for me, I'm like, if I feel like something becomes a little too easy or too routine, I get bored easily. Now I'm learning a whole new system of how to build using my computer. You're not using your headset to do it this way. So I'm like, it's a challenge right now. I get frustrated on it. And that's what's kind of keeping me actually wanting to go. With the world building, I'm trying to learn how to build avatars. I always just keep challenging myself to another level.
I love that. And it's great that you act, like you said, take a break. It's funny. I was just telling Blue earlier tonight that I was working on something on my computer. I was trying to work with a new program that I'm using. I'm a Mac girl, and I recently had to get a PC because for anyone who's out there who wants to get involved in doing things here in the metaverse, you need a PC. Not loving it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not loving it. And I'm every day I look at the computer and I'm like, did I make a mistake buying this? Because I know I need it, but I hate it so much. But I'm doing it. I'm working through it. And I was using a program earlier, and I literally was like, if I don't walk away right now, I'm not going to have a laptop in a few minutes. So I'm going to take a step back. And I went outside and I just took a break from everything. It was for like a good half hour, came back in, and I was like, all right, woosah, we regroup, we come back. But we are in here almost every day for a lot of us. And, sometimes it's like we're afraid if we take that break that it's not so much that we're afraid we're going to miss out on something. It's more afraid we're going to be forgotten if we don't keep going with our work. And, it's like, I love Crypto City. It's every Monday for, during the season, but we take season breaks. I take a break from it, especially in the summer, because who wants to be in here when, when the weather's nice and they want to be outside. Right. So we take a break in the summer, and it's funny because toward the end of the season, I'm always like, oh, I can't wait for break. And 3 weeks into break, I'm like, I miss it.
You want to come back?
I want to. So then I start working on who's going to be my next guest and what am I going to do for schedules and everything. So, but it's in a different capacity. So I do get the actual mental break from it for a couple. And then I take on other new projects. Like I'm working on the hip hop joint and I'm working on my nonprofit stuff over in Horizon, and mixing it up, I think, is a good way to change it up a little bit too, so you don't burn out. But
Exactly.
What advice would you give to anyone who's out there who wants to come in here and either build worlds or start playing around making games and things like that? What advice would you give them?
My advice I always give anybody that wants to become a creator is to just start. Don't be afraid to just start doing something. Even if you think it looks crazy, like my first world, when I went back in there and tried to revamp it versus the world I had at that time, I was like, this is bad. But at the time it was amazing. So I'm like, you just gotta do it. Don't be scared to do it. Don't be scared to ask for help either. Like, you may be afraid, like, oh, these people aren't gonna help me, these people aren't gonna, look at me, they don't know me, but you won't know until you ask. And that's always been my biggest like problem. I don't like asking for help. I really don't. Mm-hmm. I will literally wait until I'm like on the ground bleeding to death to be like, help me. Like, I do not like asking for help. But if you are new in here, it's a lot to like learn. It's a lot easier than it was before. That's a good thing. Back then it was not easy. But yeah, definitely, yeah. Don't be afraid to ask for help and just, just put something together. Even if you just throw some squares down and paint them and just look at it like this is a wall. Yep. That's your wall.
There it is.
There's a wall. So just do it.
Mm-hmm. So you did mention a little bit earlier about, monetization and doing business in here. So I kind of want to, tie it together with, navigating that fine line between creating your passions and monetizing. And, you mentioned doing music and things and not breaking people over the coals to get the playlist from you and doing it in a fashion that is actually affordable to people. So tell us a little bit about your vision for, turning your VR skills into something that could be monetized and long lasting without crossing that line.
So for me, I think that's another thing, like with me going to school. I think as far as me trying to get to the bag, like everybody, so I want to get to the bag. I already know that like doing the world's own horizon, it's not going to get to that type of money I'm really looking for. So I know once I finish coding school and I can actually use the skills I learned there to like build either like UI systems or build maybe a whole game on my own. Like I've always been a gamer and I've always had a vision of actually making games, like not just for like VR, but Xbox, PlayStation or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's actually my goal for real. I want to make a game that can be played on many different platforms and really teach. I think after I do that, I'm going to start teaching coding and teaching people how to just become creators in here.
Nice. I love that. I think that it's a great way to take in some skills, practice them, and kick them back out to help everyone else too. So good luck to you with that. I think that that's a great goal. And I'm definitely going to be looking forward to seeing more of your work over there and here now that you're kind of venturing over into the Unity and Blender. It'll be great to see some stuff come out this way. Do you have anything else up on the horizon that you want to share with us?
Not at the moment. Like I said, I really am just working on building my first world over here. So my goal this month and next month is to actually get that completed. So hopefully I'll have it done soon and it'll be in here for everybody to come and, have fun with. I've been growing my group over here, Obsidian Knights, and then working on avatars. So just be looking out. Hopefully you'll see my name on these avies. You'll see my name on a new world coming out soon, and I'll just keep growing as I go.
All right. So you're building avies for people over here too. I love that. We definitely love finding new avatars. So that'll be great. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And definitely when you do get your first world built over here, send it off to us and we'll share it with the community because we love to see people grow within here. So that's great.
Okay, of course.
And if anyone is interested in connecting with you, we put your IG up there. If you're not already following, you should follow. And if you're interested in connecting with her to, maybe you've got a world idea or maybe you're looking for an avatar, she'd be the one to hit up for it. So next week, We are actually, as I said earlier, having our 100th episode. Super excited. Hope to see all of you there. We're hopefully going to see a lot of people who've been on the show over the seasons come back out and visit with us. And it'll be really exciting. We're actually going to have our team up here on the stage, which we don't do very often. I'm excited for that. It won't just be me. It'll be Blue and Loudfire, Marcus and Kip up here on the stage. And we are going to open it up to the audience to ask some questions too. So if you have some things that you want to know about our journey in here, please come. We welcome you to be here to visit with us. And again, thank you to you, BlueBunny, for coming out and telling us your story. Of course. And we will see all of you next week. So thank you so much, everyone. And cut. You're good.